Megan O'Leary here with Malki Kawa. We're in Toronto, Canada, preparing for UFC 140, and you've got a big fight on the roster with Jon Jones. But first, let's talk about the news Dana White tweeted about Carlos Condit fighting Nick Diaz. This has been a roller coaster for Carlos. How was his mental state before this? Because he had the fight, he didn't have the fight, now he has the fight again. What's it been like for him?
It's been a roller coaster. You know, when he first, when I called him to try to get the fight with George, and we got it, he was very emotional, he was crying about it. He was all excited, emotional, happy. When the news came back the other way, then it was the same emotions, but not for the positive, for the negative. Upset, sad, the whole 9 yards. Then, they offer him the Koscheck fight. We take it because we'd love to fight Koscheck, not a problem, So he's all ready for that fight. He's training for that fight. And I don't know if you noticed, but we wanted to stay on the same card as George. And it was on purpose because all my contenders, if you look at Ben, you look at John, you look at everybody, I always try to position everyone to fight around the same time the champions are fighting, if they're number one contender or in that position, because it's all about timing sometimes. So you look at Ben, he fights a month after them, he gets a title shot. You know what I mean? You look at Carlos in this case, keep him on the same card. Both times he's on the same card. Both times, he's getting the title shot. Once it got away. Hopefully this time we get it. So it's just one of those situations where, we're hoping now that everything sticks, and, it's an interim title belt. It's unfortunate it's not George, but,
Okay, so at UFC 137, Carlos got the call that he would not be fighting George St. Pierre, that it would be Nick Diaz. How was that news given to him? Because we heard a few different reports.
I called him and told him.
How did he receive it?
No comment.
All right.
He was pretty upset. Obviously we both were. I kind of had some words with Dana before that, and I was kind of like speechless when I first got the news myself. And then when I had to tell Carlos, it was kind of hard for me to kind of break it to him, because I knew how much it meant to him when I first told him he was getting it. But I did it. I told him. He took it. It was what it was. Then he had some words with Dana, and then everything was cool. We just took it and moved on.
I have to say, publicly, he was quite a gentleman about it. All of his tweets and everything were very respectful. So kudos to him for doing that, because a lot of other people may not have handled it the same way. But let's talk about you. You're a busy man. You've got Jon Jones, again, defending his belt on this card. You've got Frank Mir. Right, yep. Then you have guys like Ben Henderson, who's going to be fighting Frankie Edgar. You have an all-star roster. How do you divide your time between all of these talented fighters?
I don't know. I really don't have an answer for it. The thing is, I have a great team that works with me. So what happens is that before I used to do all by myself, I have people that now help in certain areas. So it frees up some time for me to go and do what I have to do with each and every guy. It's still a chore. It's still hard, because everyone's in a different city. Everyone's fighting in a different city, and I'm the same thing. For one guy, it's a camp, and then he's in fight, and he's done, and that's it. And I'm fight to fight to fight to fight. Fighter to fighter to fighter. So it's just it's just tough, but it's part of the job. It's what I have to do. So it's what I'm doing.
And one of your busiest clients is Jon Jones, like I said, who's defending his belt on this card. He's become such a superstar almost overnight. Within a year or 2 years, he's now one of the biggest faces of the sport. How do you determine what's important for Jon and what isn't?
It really is Jon that determines a lot of that stuff. It's just listening to him, because the kid will tell you everything that he wants and what he wants to do. So it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's what I'd like to do. It's what I won't want to do. This is what I want to say. It's what I don't want to say. And we just talk about it, and that's it. It's pretty much simple. But he's got the busiest schedule I've ever seen. He's requested by so much. Just from the UFC part, it's one thing, but then there's so much outside the UFC, and sometimes it's hard. It goes from being, a manager of fight purses and sponsorships and all this to becoming a logistics manager. Where's he at Monday to Wednesday, and what flight can he jump on to get here so he can get back to his family? And so it's tough. He has it harder than anyone right now.
Obviously, this has been a great year for you and your clients. What's to come in 2012?
Even better. Think about it. If Jon defends Saturday, Frank wins, I think that puts Frank in a position to fight for the number one contender between Brock and Overeem, in my opinion, because JDS is out for a while. So that can be another person fighting for a belt by the end of the year. Confirmed Frankie and Ben, and I got Carlos and this guy fighting. So that right there alone, if everything falls into place, you're talking about 4 champions by the end of 2012. And, you got a slew of other guys that are still coming up, and, there's other guys that, that we've just signed that can be contenders and can do some stuff next year too as well. So, listen, it's all great, it's all wonderful, but it's the fighters themselves. I'm trying to help move things and put things in place, and that's all I can really ask to do. So.
Well, it looks like you're doing an excellent job. Looking forward to the fights on Saturday and also to everything to come next year.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Malki.
No, thank you.